I have all of the deck springs in. I've got them clinched in place. Now I've got to start my first tie. So you can see how I've got that tie, that string, kind of overlapped itself between the two nails. And I usually use these webbing nails, but they already came out in my previous video of trying to do this. So now I'm using these big fat roofing nails, which I'll use in the front here. I've already got one set. So we're going to try and get this tied up for you. It's going to be kind of tough to show you how I really tie this stuff from, just that camera in that one spot. But the first thing you do on the first spring, and by the way, when you measure your string, you just run your string over the top like this, then double it, and double it again. You got to do that for the first one because you don't know how long it's going to be. So go to this back spring, go down to the third spring, and I just go around it, back over the other one, and then through there. And then what you want to do is you want to set that spring exactly where you want it. That coil needs to be straight up and down. So pull on that, then knot it here at the top. Again, over the coil, go over the coil, then over the twine, and then back through. Then get that knotted, pinch that coil together, knot that, come to the top of the center one, and how many springs you have determines on how you actually knot these together. But you want to get that knot. Now go ahead and set it up where both springs are straight up and down on the coil. Then knot that one. Now you're going to go to the second spring on the center one. Underneath the spring, over the twine and back through. And get that knotted. Then you're going to come all the way down to the front and you're going to secure it with that big roofing nail. And you're going to go around that roofing nail, and I have another nail next to it. And you're simply going to push down on these springs and get it as tight as you can to get that coil where you want it. That looks about right. That coil in the center is about straight up and down. It's going to be really, really tight. Hammer that thing home. Put a knot in it. Same way, it's a half knot. Then you want to loop it around that other nail that's next to it. You don't have to knot that one. The next thing you do is you grab this string and you pull it all the way up to like the third spring down. All right. So then you have to go back through the spring the same way you came. Up through, and this is where you secure where the top is going to be. With this knot, you're going to secure that. So you will pull on that. It doesn't hurt if it's sticking out a little bit. Doesn't hurt, but that's the knot you use to secure the front edge of that. Then you go back to the second spring, go over the top, and then you go over the top of the front one, and then down to the front part of that spring where those other two are crossing, and you knot all three of them together. And you want to get your hand in there and make sure that, the tops of them are kind of collapsed a little bit. Double check that and give that a good knot right there like so. And then you'll put another webbing nail down in here and secure that. Give it a loop. Give it a knot. Now you're going to bring the back spring twine up. See if I can get it in there. So bring up the next one and grab the top of that back spring. Give it a loop and a knot. Get it all the way down. You want to be as far down as you can. That's as level as possible. You want that spring level. And come to the front of that spring. Again, put a knot in it. Give it a nice little pull and a tug. Snap that off. Go to the back of the middle spring. Knot that one. Give it a tug. This is where we change things up. This is where we cross the front of that spring, no knots. Come to the back of the front spring, no knots. And you go all the way down to the second spring, not the third where you've got 3 of them tied. But the second spring down here, knot that, because that's going to be your mounting knot. You're going to be able to set that and then come down to the front of that. Put in another, you gotta decide where you're gonna put your another nail. And again, I'm gonna use a big, heavy roofing nail. I'm gonna tack that in there. This is your mounting nail. The first nail holds everything down. This one sets the front spring. So you'll come down, knot that. Put a knot in it. Now you'll come up to the top and put a loop on the top, on the front, and now you're going to set the height of your spring. It varies all the time, but we're going to set this thing. We're going to set that, kind of look down the back of your springs to see where they are. Kind of get your height the way you want them. It's usually around 3.5 or 4. I'm going to set it at 3.5. So I'm going to knot that. I'm not going to knot it. I want that fluid because it'll adjust as you go. It's about 3.5, and go all the way back to the front of that second spring. This is where you tie all of them together. I don't know if you can see how I'm doing it, but you tie all those together. That holds everything. Then you come to the back of the front spring. Knot all of them together. That sets that. And let's check the height again. It's a little bit over 3.5. That's about 3.5. Now we're going to knot this. And then go all the way around that mounting single string or twine and wrap all the way around it. This will ensure the longevity of that. And as you can see, I don't have a whole lot of twine left, which is why you always double and double again when you're measuring. Come around it, knot it. It doesn't hurt to throw another nail in there. Basically, you've got it's almost 4 inches now. It'll stretch and give on you. But those 4 inches will be just fine. As you look down through there, well, you can't see what I'm doing. But as you get down and look down through there, you can kind of see that it's really close to the level of the rest of your springs. Now I'm going to stick another nail in that, and that'll be it for that particular kind of tie.